Good evening, KML seniors and families. Thanks for joining me tonight. Hopefully you got my email earlier in the day. I just wanted to at least do this and share the information in a little bit different way just to be able to make it more personal with you and also to give you a chance to ask any questions. The format that we're going to do that tonight is through that email today. You'll see there was a Google form where you could put some questions, and there are some questions populated already. You can also put them in the chat box of this stream. And those won't be out there publicly, but it'll come to me and I'll be able to answer those at the end. I have a brief kind of walkthrough, 8 to 10 minutes, just sharing some different thoughts with you. And then after that, just glad to answer any questions that you have. I want to start just again by thanking you all. This has been certainly some trying times for all of you. And I see it all over social media. I see it in the emails and the conversations that I get to have. Also the feedback that I've seen through you. And just know that our prayers continue to be with you, and we know that we will rise through this, and nothing can separate us from our God, and we can be confident in His will for us. But we also know at the same time, this is a challenge. But I thank you for your partnership. I thank you for understanding that one of the most important pieces to this is that we are unified throughout all of this process, that ultimately nothing tears us apart, as we've done so much great work together over the last 4 years. Again, I mentioned just submit questions if you have them as we go along, and I'll answer those at the end. As we begin, I want to lay out a couple of the challenges that we have as we've started to look through feedback. There are many differing opinions all over the place, and some of them are polar opposites that we get from you, and we appreciate it. But I just want to call that out that there's definitely some different views on everything that we're looking at doing. One of the biggest challenges, I feel like no matter what date we postpone graduation to, there will be people that potentially can't make it because those were shared in some of those surveys. So we feel bad about that. We just don't know that there's a great solution to it. Also, just on the whole issue of COVID-19, there are some of you that if we could have a graduation in the gym tomorrow with everybody in the world, you'd be there in a second, and you're not concerned about that. Whereas there are others of you who are concerned about even coming to the building at this point. So we're trying to sort through all that and then make the best decision for our school for the whole, which can be a challenge because that means that not necessarily all of us get what we want. But just know that we as an administration team have spent hours sorting through this. I've read every comment that's come through, every email that's come through to help us make these decisions. There were two main themes that came through from the feedback that you all gave us. The first is that an outdoor graduation with socially distanced seating is a preference of yours. And the second piece that kind of came through was as soon as possible. The majority of folks picked the first dates, wanted to do it as soon as we can, not pushing it back, wait at the end of summer if we don't have to, which is why we've kind of created the recommendation that we have today. As we went through, there were a few different pieces, again, rationale and guidance that we put together that helped us make our decision today. First of all, just the majority, again, wanted outdoor graduation. You wanted rain dates to be able to plan as appropriately as you can. You wanted us to cycle through those postponement dates moving forward. We're confident that we can make graduation happen as long as we have a week to 10-day lead time to figure it out on our end. You also wanted us to wait, not to make a decision today, partially because of the Supreme Court decision we're still waiting on, partially because, again, things continue to change. And again, waiting to hear on that Supreme Court case to see if the safer at home order holds up. Is there going to be different rules and regulations? Are there just going to be recommendations? From the beginning, we've kind of said we're going to follow the law and the orders, but try not to go beyond what those are. So we're working to do that as well. In that email, you also saw the guidance that's been sent out by the governor's office, by the state health department. They sent something out today about graduations, recommending we don't do any in-person anything. And again, we kind of appeal to the law because that law is there sharing what we have to do. We've also been in conversations. I've spoken to the Washington County Sheriff, also to the Ozaukee, Washington Health Department. All of them also believe that May 23rd is probably pretty early to even be able to do something outside. So know that we're working with our to try to work. So for our recommendation that we decided, again, We want to hold an outdoor ceremony as soon as we possibly can. As soon as the climate for reopening in a safe way and a manner that is following the law, that's where we want to go. Um, our big decision-making day is next Thursday. Like I said, I know you asked that we continue to kind of push that can down the road a little bit. Um, we're going to make that decision next Thursday, and at that point, we will make a decision on are we going to have it on May 23rd. We don't want to throw that out yet, even though we know there's probably a small chance of it, but we know by that date that decision has to be made. If the answer is no, we also are willing to assess an earlier June date. If we know that a certain date the climate will open up for us to be able to do that, we'll propose that to you and try to make that happen as quickly as possible after the school year is done. If that's not feasible, then we'll start cycling through our future dates of June 27th, and you'll see the rain dates there, and July 11th, July 25th. Our current thinking is July 25th, when we hit that point, we have graduation in the best way we possibly can. The reason is, again, we start looking to August, and I know it's hard to think all the way forward to August right now, but we know that many kids will be going off to college. Many kids will be thinking way differently about their future at that moment than we are today. So that's been our thinking around that. Also, just other items you'll see in the email. We want you to have your caps and gowns. We want you to see if they fit. We want you to be able to try them on and do all that. So we've put them out and we have them available. So next week you can come anytime between 7:30 a.m. 3:30 p.m. to pick those up. We just ask that you follow, again, social distancing guidelines if more people show up at the same time. Also, we just ask that if there are two cars, we wait till somebody else comes out and then go on. So following those, we want to make sure we're following that. We also have created a process for being able to check out. This is a challenge. If we had a school of 30, we could probably schedule each family to come in and come to your locker and go. With a school of 500, that gets a little bit more difficult. So we actually went through all of your lockers right after this started to make sure there wasn't any food in there that would cause issues. By the way, there was a lot of food in lockers that we pulled out. Now we've gone through and we've pulled any books to be able to scan those. Now our maintenance folks are going and individually bagging all the contents of people's lockers, and we'll have them available at that checkout time. And we'll send more information about how that's exactly going to work. That'll be the opportunity for you to hand in your books and your Chromebooks and anything else that belongs to us so we can scan those and make sure we have everything that belongs to us at that point. We do want to take a picture of every single one of you. I know some of you, you're like, I don't want to do that because I'd rather have my group. We understand that, and if we can do something better later on, we certainly will. But we really want to have a picture of each of you in your cap and gown. So we're asking you to come in that day, and we will have a station where you can get out in a social distancing way. Mrs. Noel will take your picture up against a background, and then we'll be able to at least collage that together. We're not going to force anybody to do it, of course, but we just think it's a good idea, and we think down the road, even if this is the only picture we have, it'll be a nice picture for each of you to have to be able to celebrate your class. So that's why we're choosing to do that on that day as well. And then finally, if we don't have graduation on May 23rd, we've been talking and listening and trying to figure out how can we do something that connects us in some way. And we would love to organize a senior celebration drive-through on that morning at 10 a.m. Obviously, you folks wouldn't be with the given climate that we're in right now, if we have to cancel or postpone that, you wouldn't be able to get out of your cars. You wouldn't be able to, celebrate in that way. But we would be able to have faculty lined up cheering you on, a celebration where you can drive in and out and drive past each other and see one another and celebrate a little bit. And we'd really like to make that special for you as well. So we're working on planning of that also. I believe those are all of my kind of notes, and it follows that email that are there. I'm going to begin just answering questions. There are a few of them on here from earlier. And then also you can continue to populate that, and kind of when the questions are done, I'll be done, and we'll go through. So one of the questions that's popped through a couple of times is prom. We're still in the same spot we were last time we communicated about that. If a senior breakfast or a prom or a bonfire or any of those things are possible, if things open up where we believe we can have one of those, we will certainly begin planning those with you. Someone asked, well, can't parents just do it? We can't control what parents do outside of here, or what you choose to do and make your individual decisions. We have to make our decision as a school, obviously, to follow the laws and orders that are out there. Individuals can make their own decisions. But at this point, we have to wait a little bit longer to see when this would be possible. A couple of people asked about the drive-through wearing caps and gowns. We'd love for you to do that on that day and get out. Frankly, I'd like to see you all in them, and it'll be sad for me if we have to postpone this as well. Somebody asked about live streaming the service. No matter what format we have it in, we will live stream the service, because even if it's an outdoor socially distanced graduation, there's a high likelihood we can't have everybody come at the same time. It's not going to be, we're not going to have huge extended families come. We're going to have to limit it in some way, so that will be available. Just looking at the different questions. We are doing Recognition Week next week. If you haven't seen that, that will be virtually. We have been videotaping, and some of you have gotten awards. You've given your speeches already and all those different parts to it. So we're looking forward to at least doing that. And unfortunately, the best way is to have you grab your awards when you come pick it up. Again, if later on we can do something else special, we're definitely open to those once things open up, where we're available to do it. Takes me a second to read some of these, so thanks for your patience. I want to make sure I'm answering everything. Again, someone is questioning, why don't we just go forward and do it? I think we have to pay attention both to what the order is, conversations with our local government, which we're having, Washington County and the health department, and also the sheriff's office, and we'll continue to work with them through the process also. These are tough situations, and this is not easy decision making. I've been in ministry for 20 years, and I think I've had to deal with a lot of stuff. This is definitely taking the cake for the most complex decision making. We're just trying to do the best thing on behalf of our people. Someone asked about the outdoor graduation, including handing out of diplomas. We would like to do that in some way. We know that walking across a stage is this symbolic thing that feels good, and walking across that stage here in some way at KML is something you want. So we want to make that. Now, exactly what that looks like will kind of depend on that time, but we want you to be able to receive those diplomas and us cheer for you and do all those exciting things. Again, those are all the questions I have now, but I'll just kind of pause for a little bit and wait. Someone says I look spiffy. I just want to let you know that I don't think I've worn a tie much in the last couple of months, but I thought it was worth wearing one for you guys tonight. So it still fits, so that's good in this time, but thank you for that. I appreciate it. Just going to refresh and see if anything else is coming through. I'm not seeing anything. I guess I would just offer this last kind of thought as we finish up here then today. I will leave this forum open. If you have any input after the fact or things you want to share with us, again, we continue to read all of your input, and a couple more things are coming through, so I'll answer those in a second. Someone asked about July 18th or July 11th, why those aren't, or July 18th, why that's not being considered. I think I got to be careful what I say, because this is just me speaking right now. We have not, we're kind of saying we're going to do it as soon as we can. So if we get to July 11th and maybe we can do it on July 18th, we'll see if things change at that point, but maybe that could be considered. I guess we're just going to have to communicate with you guys about that. So there's no specific reason. Originally, we just honestly picked the end of June, the end of July, and we thought that's a little too spaced out. And then now, just with the input that you guys have given, our goal is to make it happen. Again, give a 10-day window, but make it happen as soon as we can. We also know if some of you might be planning vacations, but you're wondering, are those vacations going to happen? We're kind of in that same holding period, wondering if those things are going to start opening up. I really believe in the next week we'll get a little bit more guidance from the state. I hope. I'm hoping and praying, but I'm not sure. Somebody asked about gym lockers as well. Those are also being cleaned out. And those will be given out at the checkout day as well. Everything we got will be coming your way. So kids, you're welcome because people are taking care of that for you. I am going to still hold on just because things keep popping through and Mr. Shannick's over here and make sure. Some of you might be wondering for graduation, like would we have the full-blown graduation service or would we just do the diplomas? What would we do? We're envisioning we would still have a pastor's message. Our class speakers would be able to speak. I would give a very short message. We'd have a song, at least the virtual choir is creating something that we could listen to. Also, obviously the diplomas, and our goal is to have you walk across the stage, even if it's a social distance way. But we also have to pay attention to the amount of time that it would take, just with the use of restrooms, etc. And again, that's if things don't open up. Seems like. All right, I'm going to wrap up then, ladies and gentlemen. Again, this forum will be left open. You can share anything after this. We appreciate the thoughts that you've been sharing with us. I promise you that we're reading them. I promise you that we will continue to listen to your feedback. I promise we'll make the best decision that we possibly can. And ultimately, God's going to bring us through these times, and we know that. Sorry, every time I'm about to be done, more questions come up. So if folks are asking about lunch money, I know that ultimately the lunch money is going to be put into the account and at the end. So part of the question is, how is the settling up of the finances going to work for seniors? It kind of depends. We would like to give it another week if we end up postponing. If not, we're going to have to do it quickly on that Thursday and make all that happen. But we have to check in books, and that's kind of a process to do all that. But your lunch money gets credited towards your ultimately. So if you don't owe any money and you have extra lunch money, you're going to get a check in the mail with that, or it'll help pay your final balance as well. Again, I just thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for understanding how difficult this is for us as well. Our prayers will continue to be with you. We can't wait, students, till we get to see you. It's not the same around here. We're not loving it a whole ton, and even if you're wondering if we loved you, we do, and we wish you were here with us. So we wish you God's blessings. You'll continue to be in our prayer. Keep sharing feedback. We'll keep communicating often with you. And we just appreciate our KML family. God bless you guys. We'll see you.